Catus, Maximus here. Decided to pick up some Tekton sockets. These are the metric and standard 12-point short well impact sockets. These are actually chrome vanadium, not chrome molybdenum. And I don't mind that. I've had plenty of good luck with chrome vanadium impact sockets, to tell you the truth. And it isn't just about the material, it's also about the heat treatment, remember. And you should also remember chrome molybdenum and chrome vanadium aren't just one type of steel. There's a whole range of steels that are chrome vanadium steels and chrome molybdenum steels. They're like recipes. There's actually well over 1,000 grades of steel. There's over 150 grades of stainless steel alone. And then there's the heat treatments. Chrome molybdenum, I believe, is cheaper than chrome vanadium. And like I said, I've had great luck with chrome vanadium tools. Even impacts. You can make impact sockets out of chrome vanadium, and they can be just annealed, so they're a little bit softer and less likely to crack. So I believe that it's actually a little bit better quality material, because why would you use chrome vanadium over chrome molybdenum? And that's my opinion. You know, I may be wrong about that. I'm not particularly smart about that stuff, but you know, that's my opinion. I've never had a chrome vanadium. I have that old Mastercraft Pro set. Never had a chrome vanadium socket split. These were also very reasonably priced. I believe they were made in Taiwan. If I can find somewhere on this box. They are indeed made in Taiwan. And Tekton's guarantee, if this ever does not meet your expectations. So that's like a craftsman level warranty. They're not saying materials and workmanship. They're just saying straight up lifetime replacement based on your expectations. Furthermore, it was 46 bucks for both of these sets. They do come in plastic cases, so for people who do like plastic cases, here they are. I'm going to put them on socket rails, so I won't be keeping these cases. But I thought it was a pretty good deal. So I got these to go along with the Synex. Wow, these are super well. Oh, look at that one. That one's like soaked. So these are definitely not going to rust. I got a little trap there. Overall, I think these aren't bad. What I also find interesting here is that you're actually getting more physical mass in steel with the fractional set than you are in the metric set. Yet for some reason the fractional set was a little bit cheaper. These are full sets, so we got 7 through 19. I wouldn't say this is a master set because that would be like 7 or 6 millimeters through 24 millimeter, but it's pretty complete. And as far as the fractional set, it's good. It's by 16ths. It's from 5/16, tiny little guy, all the way up through 1 inch. As far as their fit and finish, definitely pretty good. Now, I do not believe roll stamp them, and that's probably the biggest detractor. They don't, so they only have laser etching. It does save a little bit of money not roll stamping them, but Synexes are pretty competitively priced, and they do roll stamp their tools. As far as the fitment is concerned, like on this 3/4 inch, actually these are pretty tight. That's really tight for a 3/4 inch. How's the 19 millimeter fit? Actually feels just about the same, to tell you the truth. This may be a case where some manufacturers, the 3/4 inch and the 19 millimeter are actually manufactured with the same broach, even though 3/4 inch is slightly larger than 19 millimeter. It is a few thousandths of an inch, so let's use the same broach and label one 19, one 3/4 inch. And actually this 19 is just a touch tighter. You can see the wobble there. Versus the wobble here on the 3/4 inch is just a little bit more. Of course, being just short well sockets, they are full depth broaching and are fluted on the drive side. They only have one hole through them instead of 2 through holes, which would be more of a standard for impact sockets. Once again, that saves a little bit of money, only having to drill 1 hole. So that's how they're trying to get these on the really competitive price point. Heck, go to Napa and look up one of these sets, and they're a set of their impact sockets, and they're really pretty expensive. Suppose I should compare it to the Synex mid-length. So the Synex mid-length sockets are slightly short. They're on the shorter side of mid-length. As we can see here, the Synex ones are just a little bit taller, but usually you would expect them to be a little bit higher, but it just shows that the Tektons are essentially a standard height. Just wish they would have roll stamped them, because it's much easier to read. This laser etching does wear and can be hard, even though they do put a pretty big etching on it. Might as well see how they impact. Sorry about that last video on the Power Torque half-inch drive breaker bar. I was a bit tired when I made that video. So anyway, obviously 12-point fasteners are not super common, but they're common enough to justify some, especially if you are a professional mechanic. The big deal for me about 12-point sockets is they're just easier to use. If you don't have super stuck, rusted, jammed, or extremely high torque fasteners, 12 points work just fine. And the big deal about them is they're just much easier to just slap and get onto the fastener. They're faster, they're more convenient, and they're less hassle. And really, you don't have much issue with stripping out bolts. And you'll know if you're a mechanic or somebody who works on stuff using socket tools, then you'll have some general idea of, oh, that's a rusted bolt, I better go get a 6-point. Or you're doing assembly work, assembling a shelf or running in a bunch of fasteners. It just makes it so much easier just to grab, put it on there, and drive it right on home. Of course, one little impact job, there's basically going to be no wear. But like, here's my 10mm Mastercraft Pro chrome vanadium impact socket. This is one that I probably use by far the most. I mean, we're starting to wear off the industrial finish. And look at the fluting in this thing, is just about perfect. And so that's been my experience. I mean, chrome vanadium impact sockets are good. And I suppose what you really trade off is they have to do a lower heat treatment. And two, they'll still be a bit harder, which means a lot more wear resistance, for the trade-off of being just slightly more brittle. So what my experience has been is the chrome vanadium ones actually tend to be just as thick or a little bit thicker than their chrome molybdenum counterparts. However, what I'm noticing on these Tektons is there actually appear to be what would be accepted as thin wall. And what I mean by that here is we have the Napa Carlisle here, 3/4 inch socket. We have these Tekton impacts. Both of these are 12-point. And we can see that the Tekton is the same diameter as the chrome socket. So that's actually surprising. They are truly thin wall. And this should exemplify, now that I realize that, here's the chrome molybdenum Sunex, and we can actually see that it is slightly thinner walls than the Sunex, which are, I believe, advertised as being thin wall. They may not have been advertised as thin wall, but the chrome vanadium is a bit stronger steel, so it allows them to be a little bit thinner. It is a short well, so you can get away with slightly thinner walls. As the socket length grows, you have more likelihood of splitting or cracking, so they do need to make the sockets a little bit better. But that's pretty nice. I mean, these things ought to fit in just about any situation. And so for the $46 I think I spent getting these shipped, I think it's a great deal. It's great to add to the collection and build out sets. That's essentially what I'm doing here. And quite frankly, for 12.38 impact, you could get the Tekton short wells, the Sunex mid wells, and the Tekton deep wells, all for like less than $200, and you're getting 80 sockets or something like that. I mean, tools are pretty competitive these days, and I do appreciate that. To tell you the truth, Tekton was selling these for so cheap. That'd be, if they charged, 25 and 30 or 30 for each of the sets, I would have been happy if they would have done roll stamping. That's the one deal. Really like roll stamping. One of the things I do like about the Sunex ones, just because, first you get numbers on two sides of the socket or two places, and then, of course, the roll stamp doesn't wear off. Anyway, that's my little review of these Tektons. I think they're an excellent deal. I mean, as a matter of fact, with all the tool stores Harbor Freight has, and the prices that they're now charging, I'm 100% sure in my area, if I could find somebody who would help me start a tool store, I could stock it up with Sunex, Tekton, and sell this stuff at essentially Harbor Freight prices and just put Harbor Freight out of business. I mean, I would have just a massive more variety of tools. And then the other thing, Tekton does have a pretty good warranty. There's been dozens of comments now across my channel and various videos about how Tekton really does try to do people right with their warranty, and so it's helping them build up a reputation. They are part of MIT, which is Michigan Industrial Tools, which used to sell very cheap, cheesy tools, and Tekton was their better brand, but now Tekton outsells MIT so much that you can basically never can find actual MIT branded tools. Now it's essentially all Tekton, so I think that's kind of says something too. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do Until next time, Catus Maximus out.